Hello and welcome to today's lecture, which is about Excel and which could be very useful formula and function for those people who are involved in supermarkets or shops, merchandise selling and buying activities, or business owners at large. This formula for today is going to be extremely useful, so follow suit. And let me share you my Excel file prepared for today. Many people use Excel, although predominantly it's largely ignored software, but it is, if it's properly studied, it has very nice functions for data keeping and data analysis, one of which is what we are going to see today. Many people use it, but not as much as its potentials are. So, for example, we have a certain supermarket or shop or grocery item, and we have three salespeople working 8 hours consecutively. They are named Helen, Abraham, and Michael, for example, and mostly the shop or the supermarket or the mini market, let's say, because it's quite simple, sells sugar, diapers, and water, and so on and so forth, basic consumables. So if a certain client come, when it's the time for Michael, for example, Michael would write his name as a as a salesperson in charge, and the client might need, for example, sugar, and sugar's category might be is among, for example, foods. Maybe he might need one kilogram. The unit price might be, let's say, $2 for a kilogram of sugar, and this is our final cost. Let me make a currency symbol there for the United States dollar. All right, let me make them a bit near to each other so that it could be known. Now, another client might come after 1 or 2 minutes, and Michael is still there. The client might need to buy, for example, water. Water is categorized as drinks in that particular supermarket, and he needs to buy, for example, 5 bottle. That's the unit for water, for example, in that particular shop. And 1 bottle of water is always sold at $1, and the price could be 5. Now, this kind of work is extremely tedious and is full of mistakes. For example, Michael might forget to write the H in his name, and he might write it as this one. And he might write water here, but he might also categorize water as food items, or he might write it as foods instead of writing food. So he might also write, for example, water is 2, and he might write in kilogram, because sales are extremely tiresome work. Sales is an extremely tiresome work, and there is always a mistake. So number 1, it's time consuming. What we're doing in this system is time consuming. Number 2, it's full of mistakes. That could be avoided if we use the full power of Microsoft Excel. And that's what I'm going to show you now in the other sheet. So what we need to do is we need to list the salespeople who work in our company or in our supermarket, let's say in this case, and the item that we have for sale in the supermarket, and the category for each item, and the unit price, the units for each item. For example, sugar is food category, and its unit is in kilogram, and the unit price for sugar in this case is $2. The total price and the amount could not be determined because it depends on how much a certain client or a certain customer might want. So, and the unit price could easily be calculated by multiplying the amount with the unit price. So we don't have any problem there. But the real question now is, how do we write the salesperson? Do we need to write every time a client comes and wants to buy a certain item from us? So what I will do now is I will data validate all these items, and I will also use another formula called Vlookup, and follow me now. So what I would do is I will click here, but not here, but on the top of this column here, and I'll click, I'll just do this, go to the data tab, with the data tools group, there is data validation, and I will click on data validation, and here on the setting under allow, I would click here and click on list, because I've got the names of the salesperson listed along, and I would say I would click here and click here to find out the source of this list. And what I will need to do is select the three salesperson, and I'd say enter, and I would say okay. Now you see we have got, if we click here, we have got this drop-down menu here. Now it contains the name of the salesperson. So for example, let's say the first turn is for Helen. That's her turn for 8 hours. So we write Helen here instead of writing her name, because sometimes she might also use double L as some people use. The item name, again, I need to data validate it. So I would click this, and on data tab, again, I will go to data validation and click on data validation again, and the list, the source. So what I would do is I would click the item names here and enter, and I would say okay. Now it's data validated. And the category section, I will use another formula which is called Vlookup. Take a look now. Let me make it a bit bigger, that would be visible to anyone, and widen the cell, this column, and then a little bit so that it would be visible. So what I would say is equal to Vlookup. Okay, let me take a bit back. Helen has got a client who wants to buy sugar, for example. So all the list of items that are for sale are now here. There is no need for typing any and every item at every sales event. So a certain client has come and wants to buy sugar. Now I would say Vlookup, which means vertical lookup. I'll double click and it will come. Where is your lookup value? My lookup value is sugar, comma. Where is your table array? Where is the answer for this? I mean, where is your table now? The table now is here. Here. This is our table array. All right. Comma. It says, where is your column index number? Now, my column index number is in the second one. If we see here, we have got two columns, one containing the item name and the other containing the category of every item. So the answer is in the second one. So I will write 2 here. Do you need an exact match or you need an approximate match? I need an exact match. And I would close the bracket and say enter. Now you see, sugar is a food category. The amount would depend on what the client might need. So maybe, for example, he might need, let's say, 3 kilograms of sugar. The unit is now a question. So we don't need to write sugar in for example, if it's sold in kilograms, we don't need to write kg. Instead, we will use again the Vlookup formula, the vertical lookup formula, and work on it. Vlookup, double click. Where is your lookup value? Sugar again, comma. Where is your table array? My table array is here. 4 of them. So remember now. All right. Where is your answer again? It says table array, comma. Where is your column index number? My column index number is in the 4th one. I have selected 4 columns. 1, which is item name, the category, the amount, and the unit name. So my answer is now in the 4th column. So what I need to write is now 4, comma. Do I need exact match or an approximate match? I would say exact match. And I will close the bracket and say enter. Now you see, sugar is food, and the unit is in kilogram. The unit price is again something that we need to automate here. So I would just click there and say is equal to Vlookup, which means vertical lookup. And where is you look up value, sugar. We are just going to use that example, then we'll take it down. Where is your table array? My table array is, let's say, I'm going to choose all of this, comma, where is your column index number? Meaning from these 4 columns you've selected, where is the answer? The answer is in the fifth one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the fifth one, comma, where is, do you need an exact match or an approximate match? I would need an exact match. So I would either write false here. False means an exact match. And they'll say enter. Now you see the unit price for sugar is $2. So the total price would be is equal to the amount that the client wants times the unit price enter. So you see, he has to pay $6. So I don't need to do anything now, but I would select this and drag it down. It says non-applicable. For example, let me delete this one, and again this one. All right. Okay, a certain client might come when Helen is there, so she will just click there and write it Helen. Now, Helen might write her name double L or double E or double N, depending on how she wants to write. But if the organization wants it to be like this or wants to keep the way she writes her name, then that would be very standard. Now, she could just choose her name from the list. Then a certain client have come and wants to buy water. No problem, water is among this. And the water, so you see, now water is drink, so it's written by itself because we have data validated it. I mean, we have used the vertical lookup to write it. And for example, you might want to buy 3. So you see, 3, the unit for water is in liters, and the unit price is 0.8 because we have used the Vlookup to calculate it automatically. Again, Helen is there. Another client has come after 5 minutes. So we select her name. And that client might want to buy, for example, yogurt. Yogurt is food, so it's written by itself. The amount that you could write is maybe, or that certain client, let me delete this part. That client might need is 3. And the unit price for yogurt was 4.2, so it's written by itself. And this is calculated. Again, when Helen is there, a client has come and he wants to buy Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is drinks, and he wants to buy 5 bottles of Coca-Cola. So bottle is written by itself because we've used a formula so that it would be written by itself. Unit price is 1 for 1 bottle, so he needs to pay 5. Helen is now off. Another salesperson has replaced her, who is Abraham. So you would write her name here. Or if he tried to write his name, for example, as Abraham and say enter, it doesn't work. It cannot be written because we have validated it to accept only these names, So I would say cancel. So it will be written as the way we validated it. So that client might want to buy soft tissue. So you see soft tissues in the hygiene category, and he might want to buy 6 soft tissues. The unit for soft tissues pieces, and the unit price is 1.5 written by itself, and the total price is now $9. So again, Abraham has got another client who wants to buy biscuits. Biscuit is now food, and it's in type. The unit price is 3.5. So what Abraham needs to pay is only to write is only the amount, because the amount always varies, but the other one remain constant, or they work with a formula. So Abraham is now off, and another salesperson replaces him, and he's David. David has got a client who wants to buy diapers. So the formula is still, we need to make it like this. So that's how it works. That's how it works, right? So we can use Vlookup, which is meaning vertical lookup, and data validation to really shorten the time it takes us to sell items in our supermarket. Thank you, guys. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can write me messages. If you need further information, you can write me message and comments. Thank you.